What's up, everybody? Sasquatch runner here. Badwater Salton Sea DNF. Let's talk about that. What happened? Well, I DNF'd at mile 25 and it started about mile 10. And let's get into the reason why. So, just real quick, the Badwater Salton Sea, I ran it in 2013, got that cool little pendant right there. And so 13 years later, I'm back with David. We're running as a two-person team. You have to run it as a team. Either two-person or three-person. This is what David and I are doing, a two-person team, as I said. And we have a goal of just finishing overall, no big, you got 28 hours to finish. And we're trying to finish somewhere between 26, 27. If it's 25, great. If it's 28, great. We just got to make sure we make the cutoff. Now, you have one big cutoff. You got a couple of cutoffs, but you have one major cutoff at the first 35 miles. And you have 9 hours to get there. So our first goal is let's get that 35 miles done and let's get there. It can be warm during this certain first part of the 35 miles as you go through Borrego Springs and you leave the Salton Sea. This particular race, day, super weather, perfect weather, perfect weather. Probably next year in 27, I'll go back. Probably won't see that weather again. Hopefully, maybe fingers crossed. But it's in the 60s. Probably stayed around 70s, low 80s for most of the day. Didn't hit the upper 80s, almost 90 till way late in the afternoon, which in the past, it's been 90s, like as soon as that sun comes up and it's just hot all day. They've also had history of huge winds, 30, 40 mile an hour winds, dust storms, you're running, can't see nothing. The year I ran, it was hot. I do remember it being windy, but we didn't have huge winds. And then when you go up farther and you cross up over the mountain and you have like the last 50K, perfect weather again. It was like in the low 50s all night long and no rain. They've had a history of rain, snow, fog, sleet. It can be crazy going up the last little part to Palomar Mountain. So anyways, this year, good race, weather, and let's go. So the first thing we did in the morning is we had to leave our Airbnb. We have about a 2.5 hour drive down to the start because we stayed at the finish line, which makes it much easier. So as soon as you're done at the finish, you're right there by your Airbnb. So in the morning, you have to get up, drive 2.5 hours. And so while I had everything set up, what I didn't have was my pre-race nutrition. I don't know what I did, guys. I just didn't plan properly for that. And this is where big red flag number one comes off. So I didn't really have anything set up. I had a protein bar, I had a banana, had some like chips, like some snacks and stuff like that. So again, you're up, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. Your system's not really interested in eating that early. But we drive to the start about 45 minutes before the start. I eat the banana, I eat the protein bar, and I'm like, I'm good. Got all the race nutrition, liquid calories ready to go. This is also a crewed race, so you have to have a crew that will help you for the entire 81 miles, except the first 7.5 miles. You have to carry everything yourself, so there's no crewing for the first 7.5 miles-ish. You meet up with your crew, and then after that, you can continue every mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever works for you and the team. So I got all my race nutrition stuff, liquid calories, some snacks, and whatnot. Boom, we take off and everybody's excited. Yeah, we take off. Everybody's running super fast. I'm looking at my pace and I'm like, oh man, I'm running like a 10-minute mile. Like that's not gonna happen. So roughly after about 3/4 of a mile or so, we slowed down, everybody takes off. And David and I are like, man, everybody's running fast. But we start settling into our pace. But it's cool. It gets like 65 degrees in the morning. We're feeling good. So we're running a little bit faster than what we need to be, but we're both checking in with each other. And that was our big communication. Always check in with each other, see how you're feeling, and let the other person know no matter what's bothering you or how you're feeling. So we're both feeling good. We're doing well. We clear the 7.5 miles and we meet up with our crew. By this time, I'm hungry. Here's where problem number one came in from. Remember, didn't plan the race nutrition. So I'm hungry. So I tell my crew, hey, which is my cousin and David's wife, Rita. And I said, hey, cuz, give me my snack packs. So I built up all these snack packs, and so she hands one to me, and off we go. So I start munching because I'm hungry. So I'm munching. I'm putting Pop-Tarts down. I'm eating some chips, you know, a little crumble cake thing. Like I'm drinking my calories, sipping on water, and we're moving along. And next thing you know, I was like, oh, I'm kind of full. Like I ate too much. This is the problem because I was hungry, right? So I don't know, we're around mile 11, 12. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just kind of feel like some pressure right here in my stomach. Like, ugh, like, Anyways, so I slowed down on the eating and took it easy. But by mile 14, now it's just like, it's hard like this. And it feels like, oh, like somebody's just leaning, standing on my stomach. Like, oh, tell David, like, dude, I ate too much back there. And we're still running pretty good. We're using a 3-minute run, 1-minute walk, try and run the downhills, walk the uphills, and just play that layout as it goes. So I tell him, hey, we got to slow down just a little bit. My stomach's not feeling too good, and I just don't want it to get worse or whatever. And so he says, cool. So we slowed down, and we played that slow down game, and then it just kept getting worse. And I stopped eating, so I was sipping on water just a little bit. We're having communication, and we're talking, and I'm keeping him filled in. I had to stop, go to the bathroom twice. Telling my crew it's just not feeling good, so I'm not really drinking, switching out bottles or anything, but we keep moving. But we're still doing walking, and we're still maintaining roughly around 13:30 average pace, somewhere in there. And we're probably mile 16, 17, 18, I don't know, 16, somewhere in there. But I notice the pace is starting to slow down. I'm in the lead. I'm setting the pace. David's like, hey, you just go as fast as you can and run when you can. And so I was trying to do that, but ultimately it just wasn't working. And I just was walking slow, and our pace kept slipping away overall. You have to maintain about a 15:30 pace to make that 9-hour cutoff. And so I finally just bring it up to him like, hey, like, when do you need to break off from me to make sure you finish? Because I don't want you missing the cutoff because of me. And he says, hey, when we get to about 15-minute mile average, let's have that conversation again. So, okay, so we keep going. I'm not getting any better. Still feeling crappy. Can't really run much, and the pace is slipping away. Finally, we get to about 14:55. I bring it back up. Said, David, I'm not getting any better. I got to stop. And he's like, brother, you know, as soon as you stop, it's going to be 2-3 hours and you're going to feel better. And I was like, I know, but we don't have that kind of time, and you got to keep going. So at mile 25, I DNF'd, dropped out. And I just knew it was my stomach. I knew I needed to stop. And so let's recap a couple of those things. So I stopped real quick. David keeps going. He finishes 25 and a half hours. Great job, buddy. And I just ended up becoming a crew person and helping out. But I stopped, and I sat there for about 3 hours in the car and just kind of cooling down. But now it's like in the low 80s. I had been using some ice bandanas just to try and keep my core a little bit cooler. Had heat trained for it, but ultimately a couple things I think could have helped. One, I could have vomited. I don't like to throw up. Probably nobody does, but in hindsight, I probably wish I would have, because it would have cleared the contents from my stomach and it would have kind of reset, right? The second thing is, I wish I probably would have told David or asked David, like, hey, we just need to stop and give me like 20, 25 minutes at our pace. That's like 1.5 miles of move time, but it would have let my system calm down, cool down, bring the core temperature down, and allow blood flow to come back to my stomach. Now remember, when you're out there running, all the blood is going to your heart, lungs, and your legs. Your stomach's getting just a little bit of that, right? But I shoved all that food in there, so now it can't even digest. So it's like, wait, you want me to run and digest, but you didn't give me any blood flow. So by stopping, I believe that would have reverted the blood to my stomach, helped clear the contents faster, and then we could have continued to move on. Again, that's why you're out there. All looks good on paper. Everything is a plan. And then you got to adjust the plan, and then you learn if the plan didn't work. So these are the things I learned from DNFing at this race. and we'll take into going into future races, like, plan that nutrition, get it set, and then adjust your pace based off of, what you think you need to be doing. Again, I feel with our pace that was good. It was a great pace to begin with. I just put too much solid food in there and was asking my system to digest it when it just didn't have. But if I would stick with liquid calories and gels like I had planned, but I was hungry because I didn't eat, I would have been fine. That's what I believe. So anyways, that's what we learned. And now we're moving forward. And the whole point of this was, guys, plan your race nutrition so you don't DNF, get hungry. I mean, later on, like, in some of the hundreds I've done, you're walking, you eat, and you take some time, but you're walking a little bit slower, and it's farther on in the race. And so again, you're just at a different points. Again, we're still pretty early in this race, and we're moving good, and those are the things that happen, right? So what's next? So next up, it's obviously in June here in Vegas, and it's pretty hot outside, so I haven't been doing as much running, but I am still preparing for the crewing aspect and a little bit of pacing for David out at Badwater 135. David did get into Badwater 135, so I'm fortunate enough to help crew him and be on his team to help get him through that, so we're excited for that. Other than that, I'm still practicing some of my changes. I'm playing with different nutrition and just some different liquid calories. I've used Hammer and different products, Tailwind, and some of these other ones that are out there. But I'm just playing with a couple different ones, and stay tuned for later on. We'll talk about some of that stuff, and I'll show you guys what I've used and what I've tried and whatnot. But other than that, that's about it. Can't think of anything else. I do have a Ruck coming up. I'll be talking about that, or actually by the time this video posts, there'll be the Ruck video should already probably be up. So you can check that out in one of the links that'll pop up, or it'll be down in the show notes if you want to see what happened on the Ruck. But otherwise, plan that race nutrition, pre-race nutrition. That was my biggest point and takeaway. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that. And you know what? I've always done that, and I've never had a problem until this race, until I did it this time. So that just proved, when you fail to plan to fail, all of that happens together. Peace out, everybody.